Economic Development Corporation and the 2021 Director of the Guilford County Economic Development Alliance. On behalf of the City of High Point and the Guilford County Economic Development Alliance, I would like to welcome you all to this exciting announcement ceremony. DC Blocks has chosen High Point to build a multi-tenant data center that could add more than $305 million to our tax base. Imagine one project adding $305 million to High Point and Guilford County's tax base. Today's project announcement by DC Blocks is the largest capital investment project for High Point in the 15 years since I have been with the High Point EDC. The new DC Blocks facility will be constructed in the Piedmont Center Business Park in High Point on the 14-acre tract at 4131 Sheraton Court at the corner of Piedmont Parkway and Sheraton Court, adjacent to the Bicentennial Greenway. The High Point EDC and Greensboro Chamber Economic Development teams first met with company officials in 2018 as the company was searching for the perfect location for their Southeast US facility. After listening to the company and their needs, I suggested the chosen Sheraton Court site and am so pleased that they discovered that the perfect place for their company to do business is right here in High Point. It's been a pleasure getting to know about the company and its work, as well as meeting with the DC Blocks team, two of whom you'll hear from soon this afternoon. But first, I'm honored to introduce the chair of the High Point EDC, Mr. Carlos Olvera.
Well, thank you very much, Sandy. That's a great introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't think of a more exciting program to have at one of our board meetings than to have such a major project announcement for High Point, Guilford County, the Triad, and the Carolina Core region. To get things started, I called to order the May 2021 meeting of the Board of Directors of the High Point EDC. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome those joining us for this video conference, including DC Blocks officials, elected officials, the Board of Directors of the High Point EDC, the leadership group of the Guilford County Economic Development Alliance, economic developers in Guilford County and the Carolina Core, a host of business and educational leaders, and of course the media. Now, building on Sandy's introductions, DC Blocks' data centers are located in Atlanta, Georgia, Birmingham, Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama, and Chattanooga, Tennessee. Construction is underway now on a data center in Greenville, South Carolina, and soon we will be pleased to add High Point to that list. Let me read from today's news release from the company. Quote, a well-connected data center is needed to reliably run IT infrastructure, protect equipment and data, and to securely move that data to and from necessary platforms, providers, and partners. DC Blocks data centers are designed specifically to provide key services that allow modern businesses to continue scaling their IT ecosystems. From two of the company's senior officials, we will hear more about DC Blocks, the company's work, and this High Point project. But first, we will see a company video that introduces us to DC Blocks.
Carlos, I think Ryan's going to pull that up for us.
You know, my name is Jeff Uphues, and I've been in the role of CEO for DC Blocks for about 3 years now. I originally joined as a supervisory board member, and then was asked by the board of directors to come into the role and lead the company in its expansion to place these data centers in underserved yet growing markets throughout the Southeast United States. Well, we always have goals. Our goals are continue to keep at the pace for what we are doing. We know that gets harder and harder as you get bigger. You know, we're a company that is doubling revenue every single year and doubling the size of our footprint. We're going to continue to expand in our new markets, and we're going to continue to connect all these data centers together. You know, right now we're seeing how do we pick the right partners and how can we how can we get the speed of our execution out into the markets while still keeping the same type of quality. So, you know, for our goals, it's what markets can we impact how can we have the best partners that are there, and how can we continue to expand with the same quality into these new markets of what we've been able to deliver thus far. I see that it's a great time to be in the data center business. It's a great time to be doing this across underserved markets. We can become a real strong partner for the community, both in our ability to serve locally and connect globally as DC Blocks continues to expand across the Southeast United States. It's a great time, and we're very fortunate for having good partners and good cities for which we work together to change the landscape of the technology scene. So thank you very much.
All right. Well, now it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Jeff Hughes and Kurt Stover of DC Blocks. Take it away.
Well, thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Carlos. It is indeed a great day for the community of High Point and the entire Triad region, the great state of North Carolina, and for DC Blocks with today's announcement. It's really humbling and exciting to have so many people attending today's virtual event. And on behalf of our team at DC Blocks, we're very grateful for everyone who helped make this day possible. So many of you played a critical role in helping bring DC Blocks to High Point. So today is a celebration of everyone's collective efforts. I believe context is important. You heard Sandy talk a little bit about our journey here. So I wanted to share elements of that journey to selecting High Point in the Triad region for our 6th data center location. The Triad first came onto our radar as a great future location in June of 2017. At DC Blocks, we're very methodical in our approach to evaluating markets across the Southeast, and we carefully analyze over 50 key data attributes of the markets in areas of customer demand, market economics, competitive landscape, and the core infrastructure that is available, which greatly influences many of our decisions. The bets we ultimately make result in hundreds of millions of dollars of digital infrastructure investment that you heard Sandy talk about. So we have to be very selective of where we choose to add new facilities. Initially, we were really surprised through this analysis of the 39 markets that we looked across 12 states in the Southeast. The Triad region has always appeared to be in our top 5 most desirable cities to invest in for a Tier 3 certified multi-tenant data center facility like what we're building. Since June of 2017, we continue to analyze that data to meet with prospective customers, evaluate property options, and meet with county and city officials. Where these exercises in our evaluation process take years of planning, we knew the moment that we stepped foot into High Point in the greater Triad region, we would be very successful across the state with a new facility. So we're grateful for all the hard work that the High Point EDC, the Guilford County Economic Development Alliance, and the Greensboro Chamber Economic Development team helped us in selecting High Point. We've been very impressed with your city, your physical infrastructure across the region, including the fiber optic networks that exist there, a robust airport, the logistical availability of high-skilled local contractors and workforce is really, really amazing in the things of what we've seen. What we've been most impressed with is the city of High Point has a clear and bold vision for the future, which requires people who are dedicated and deeply committed to achieving that mission. Hearing the vision for your great city from Mayor Wagner and seeing firsthand the investments you have made into making High Point an impressive city are really motivating. The new High Point Rockers Stadium complex, the live, work, play investments downtown, the alignment of workforce development initiatives across your education systems, and the remarkable growth of High Point University as an international destination are very inspiring to see. Today, we're proud to announce the land purchase and bring DC Blocks to High Point in the greater Triad region. At DC Blocks, we too have a bold vision for the future, and we're guided by our mission, which is to power and connect digital business in underserved yet growing markets. High Point and the Triad region are a vibrant, entrepreneurial-driven region that I know will greatly benefit by DC Blocks across your state. At DC Blocks, we provide digital infrastructure that connects our customers to the world. We design, build, and manage secure, reliable, multi-tenant, Tier 3 certified data centers. We also create a robust connectivity ecosystem where all content of all types can be distributed at the speed of light, where we provide direct private network connections to cloud services like Amazon or Google or Microsoft or Oracle. By doing this, we become the trusted ecosystem by wireless providers, by network carriers, and most importantly, by government entities and enterprises who understand our commitment to quality and appreciate the rich ecosystem that we manage. We're engaged in our communities that we serve. What this means is, simply put, it is our purpose to be involved, invested, and respected in the communities for which we operate. Our commitment to North Carolina and the Triad and our capital investments are another example of how we plan to serve locally. Through our investments, we enable job growth in our construction process, where it is our intention to use contractors that are local and deeply engaged in your market. It is important for us to utilize, where we can, minority disadvantaged business enterprises, where in the past we have awarded sizable amount of construction in building these facilities. We're looking forward to this process in High Point to execute a similar strategy as we finalize some of our designs. Our vision really is to serve locally and connect globally on behalf of our customers. Serving locally to DC Blocks, like you heard in the video, means we're a company that gets involved and stays involved, as it's really part of our DNA and culture. We serve local, we act local, we commit our time to the community with our calendars and our checkbooks as we strive to make a difference. This is not just with the business services we deliver, but the total engagement of our team to serve the needs of the entire market. As an example, in each of our markets, we partner with nonprofits, with school systems or community organizations that have a commitment to educate the impact of digital technologies on a community. A few months ago, we partnered with county and city officials in one of our other markets to announce the donations of hundreds of computers to underprivileged students and parents for advancing education in challenged areas. So you probably ask, so why do businesses need DC Blocks? Our future is really digital, and the currency of the 21st century is data. It's how it's used, how it's analyzed, how it's accessed, how it's managed, and most importantly, how it's stored. If 2020 has taught us anything about science through the pandemic, we've learned the importance of how valuable healthcare and life sciences and data genomic sequencing is, that enables scientists to identify the movement of viruses and strains and finding ways to create new vaccines. As an example, it's good to know that DC Blocks secures, stores, and manages a vast majority of genomic sequencing data for several of the world's largest research biotechnology institutes in the country through our facilities. We aim to do the same thing through our High Point facility. Data centers are also really robust infrastructure enablers for smart cities and other traffic management systems, which will be required for the future, which includes self-autonomous driving vehicles and other technologies. If you look at what the World Economic Forum has said, at the beginning of 2020, the number of digital bytes in the universe was 40 times more than the number of stars in the observable universe. What it really says is data is very valuable and is housed in data centers. DC Blocks secures and stores and moves data. We're just like a bank. We secure that data and protect it from man-made natural disasters. We provide multiple methods of storing and accessing data, and we do so in a safe and secure way. Another real benefit of what we do is instead of having governments or enterprises build many of their own data center facilities, or having to reluctantly place many of these deployments of their computing equipment in other markets, whether that be in Charlotte, or whether that be in Raleigh, or whether that be in Atlanta. Now through DC Blocks, we can keep that here in the High Point region. What DC Blocks does to enable businesses to succeed in the economy is, through this physical bank that I mentioned, we really do three things. We secure, we protect, we operate reliable, cooled space and power for computing infrastructure and cloud services that everyone depends upon. Our facilities are certified as state-of-the-art designs that are efficient and will always be on. We provide network connectivity to enable high-speed, high-capacity access at a guaranteed low latency data rate to all of our digital partners who use us. Today, we live in the world of cloud services, and DC Blocks provide you an on-ramp to those hundreds of cloud providers that I mentioned before, securely and protected through our ecosystem where you can connect to these anywhere in the world. Finally, we deliver low-cost, high scalable storage or data vaults for both long-term and short-term storage with geographic diversity that helps ensure that data is always available. So really, in summary, our DC Blocks data centers are just like Grand Central Station. They're like the railroad of the past. All data in all the markets we serve as this entity where you connect through. We may not be the final stop in traveling data, or we may enable the final destination for your data. But one thing is certain, by having DC Blocks in High Point, the access to all data for all entities who select us will be protected. Now to introduce more about what you'll see from DC Blocks in the High Point and Triad region, I'd like to introduce Kurt Stover, who is our Chief Operating Officer. Kurt?
Thank you, Jeff. Jeff's talked about why we wanted to come to High Point, what we do, what we expect to bring, and I get the pleasure of showing you what we're actually going to do. So this is the first rendering of what DC Blocks High Point would look like. And the idea behind what we're showing you here is our data centers are the same. There's something you can be proud of. There's something that you'd be glad to have in your neighborhood. And it's also something that's highly secure and protected. I think Jeff talked a little bit about why High Point, but since I do the work associated with finding the markets and analyzing the markets, I just want to talk about it one more time. We love the business climate and we love the growth. Okay. We love the education and the workforce, and we like the growing population. There's broad industry representation in High Point, which means all sorts of different opportunities for customers to come into our data center. And there's also a desire for robust and state-of-the-art infrastructure. And the cooperation we had with High Point led us to this point. Next slide, please. So we've talked a little bit about where it's going to be located. The plot itself is just north of 14 acres. And we need enough space to position the data center so we have enough setbacks from the road because we do build and design to a certain amount, a certain security standard. When we're all done, it will be about 54,000 square feet of data hall space. The office itself will be roughly 6,700 square feet, and the property will support 18 megawatts of critical IT load. All our designs are what's referred to as tier 3 or tier 3 basis of design, which means there's always +1 of something just in case there's a problem. If there's a problem here, there's always one more to take up the load and support if there's an issue. Next slide, please. So I talked a little bit about secure tier 3 design, and this rendering kind of shows you what I was talking about with respect to setbacks and fencing and things like that. It's the same design as all our other DC Blocks data center, and it's built in blocks. So yeah, some smart marketing guy at DC Blocks has blocks in their data center. The idea here is we build incrementally. We build a block and we build a block next to it and build a block next to it and build a block next to it. So we're incrementally adding capacity to the data center itself as we need it. Each block essentially runs independent of the other blocks. So if there's a problem in one block or one data hall, it doesn't affect the other data halls. The security of the data hall itself or the property itself is layered. So it goes from setbacks from the road to vehicular access to the fence. It's about, depending on where we end up, 8 badge swipes before you could ever get to any critical equipment. And all of it is monitored 24/7 by 360, 24/7, 365 by manned security. Next slide, please. So why does it matter that we have a purpose-built data center in High Point. We think and work towards just data center connectivity and infrastructure. So we have thought through what you would need in High Point and make sure we provide that. We don't just have data center, we do data center. So we have lobbies big enough and restrooms in the lobby. We have secured receiving. We have break areas and refreshments. We have training rooms, and we have conference rooms for customers to use. We have showers for when customers have to stay overnight for a long project. All of this under CCTV monitoring. That's my show for what you're going to get, and we can't wait to build it and deliver it to the city of High Point.
Perfect.
Jeff?
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Kurt. I hope this overview to Sandy and the rest of the Triad community, and certainly the city of High Point, gave you a little bit more insight about what we're going to do and why we're so excited to be part of this economic boom that is happening around High Point and Triad. You know, we've heard there's another announcement by High Point University today, and there's so many good things going on in the market. I just want everyone to come away with something that's really passionate for us. We're going to commit to you that we're going to do our part to continue to embrace you as a community, our new neighbors, and all the businesses of North Carolina. With this new campus, especially the city of High Point will be enabled with a state-of-the-art, modern, highly secure, highly certified data center that can be an economic engine to continue to bring more opportunities in businesses to bring their business into the High Point and Triad region. So once again, on behalf of DC Blocks, we're grateful for Sandy and Mayor Wagner and everyone that helped along the way. Everyone's hard work made this day happen. And for now, and more comments and speakers, I'm going to turn it back over to Sandy to introduce our next one. But thank you very much. We're very excited.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Kurt. We love hearing more about all of your work and the capability that we will have in data here in High Point, Guilford County, and the Piedmont Triad and Carolina Core. It's my pleasure now to turn the program over to Marquitta Welton. Marquitta comes to us representing the state of North Carolina and is Chief of Staff for the North Carolina Department of Commerce. Marquitta has an impressive background in public work, having served as Deputy Secretary in the North Carolina Department of Administration previously, and she's also served in local government. So with that, Marquitta, I'm gonna hand it over to you.
Thank you, Sandy. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Marquitta Welton, Chief of Staff at North Carolina Department of Commerce. I am so happy to be part of this exciting announcement. First, on behalf of Governor Roy Cooper and Secretary of Commerce, Michelle Sanders, I'd like to congratulate Jeff, Carlos, Commissioner Alston, and Mayor Wagner on today's announcement. And you too, Sandy. The state is thrilled to welcome DC Blocks to North Carolina and the Carolina Core. The company's decision to build a data center here speaks to the region's strength of assets, including its location and size, and of course, its talent pool. DC Blocks' commitment to High Point is precisely the kind of investment needed to promote and grow the region's innovation economy and will provide good jobs well into the future, fostering economic prosperity in the greater Guilford County community and well beyond. Jeff, your company's project plays an important role in adding a level of technology crucial to advancement of entrepreneurship and innovation in the surrounding communities. It also checks several boxes that are priorities for the Department of Commerce, including creating more good jobs with good wages and good benefits for employees, and helping build a more resilient post-pandemic and transformational economy. We know that you and the DC Blocks team will find an abundance of success in High Point. Again, on behalf of the state of North Carolina, congratulations and welcome to North Carolina.
Thank you, Marquitta.
Thank you.
We appreciate that so much. I think now we'll hear from County Commissioner Chairman Skip Alston. Skip, the floor is yours. And I know Skip has, there he is.
Am I on now?
Yes, sir. We've got you.
Okay. Let me say, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Skip Alston, Chair of the Gifford County Board of Commissioners, and I'm delighted to welcome DC Block to Gifford County on behalf of my fellow commissioners. They are Vice Chair Calvina Foster, Kay Cashin, Carolyn Coleman, Justin Conrad, Carly Cook, Mary Beth Murphy, Alan Perdue, and James Upchurch. But when the Gifford County Board of Commissioners voted unanimously to support this project back in October 2020, Hank Henning, Jeff Phillips, and Alan Branson were also on the board. And I know they too joined this current commission in welcoming DC Block to our community. When the company made its presentation to the commissioners, we were told several things that raised our appreciation for DC Block. The company pledged via one of its slides to work to reducing the digital divide in underprivileged areas, providing technology support for nonprofits and disadvantaged minority-owned businesses, and fostering training and education for tomorrow's technology workers. So we say to DC Block officials, you'll find Gifford County to be a business-friendly place for your business. Please feel free to contact me, any other commissioner, or any of our county staff for anything that you might need. We look forward to joining you for the groundbreaking ceremony and the grand opening that we will hope will happen sooner rather than later. Again, welcome to Gifford County. We're proud to have you as part of our family.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman Alston. And with that, we'll turn it over to Mayor Wagner now.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Jay Wagner, the mayor of High Point. What great news it is for our city to have DC Blocks as our newest corporate citizen. Joining me in welcoming the company's decision are the other members of the High Point City Council, Mayor Pro Tem Britt Moore, Michael Holmes, Wesley Hudson, Cyril Jefferson, Tyrone Johnson, Victor Jones, Monica Peters, and Chris Williams. After the High Point City Council voted unanimously to support this project in October of 2020, I was pleased to meet with DC Block CEO Jeff Uphues at the Catalyst Club in Truist Point Stadium. At that location, as we stood outside looking at the ball field in the foreground and the construction and the upfits underway over the outfield fences, I was proud to show off the impressive efforts going on to transform our downtown. I committed then that the city of High Point will continue to be a partner with the company, not just as they build their new facility, but also as they operate here for years and years to come. DC Blocks will be locating in a High Point Business Park, which I believe is one of the state's premier business parks. I think you've picked an impressive location. Having a multi-tenant data center in our city is an impressive asset that will support regional businesses which need information technology to be handled well. Another thing that I love as I've gotten to know Jeff in the meantime is the part of their tagline, which says serve locally. High Point and our region need great corporate citizens. Corporate citizens who not just are locating here and paying taxes here, but corporate citizens who want to be a part of our community, who want to reach out and serve in our community. And I believe in Jeff's commitment to that. And I look forward to them being a corporate citizen of High Point. Jeff and Kurt, the city of High Point and its economic development department are so proud and pleased that DC Blocks will be joining our business community. This is an amazing asset for High Point, the Triad, and the Carolina Core region. And we thank you for your confidence in our community.
Thank you, Mayor Wagner. We're excited about it, and you've got a wonderful city. I can't wait to go to a game there. We need to hold an event there soon.
Me too, and we'll do it.
Perfect. Thank you, Mayor Wagner. We appreciate those comments so much. So ladies and gentlemen, at our annual meeting last November, you heard me say that economic development is a team sport. And I'd like to say that the High Point EDC team of Vice President Marshall Yandel, Penny Westgard, and I were joined by the Guilford County Commissioners, the High Point City Council, and the Guilford County Economic Development Alliance on this. In addition to those key players, let me acknowledge those special behind the scenes efforts that helped us land this great project from DC Blocks. From the City of High Point, Interim City Manager Randy McCaslin, Assistant City Manager Greg Ferguson, who was designated as the main contact for DC Blocks with the City of High Point and helped them through the initial permitting process so smoothly. City Attorney Joanne Carlisle and Deputy Attorney Megan McGuire. In the planning departments, Lee Burnett and David Fensel. From Guilford County, County Manager Michael Halford, County Attorney Mark Payne, Planning and Development Director Leslie Bell, and also the planning department's Beth Ann Ahern. And someone else that was very involved, then County Manager Marty Lawing. And from our Guilford County Economic Development Alliance, our 13-member leadership group, which is chaired so ably by Anita Bachman. The staff of the Greensboro Chamber, my colleague Brent Christensen, Marvin Price, Barbara West, and Meredith Berger. And also our consultant with whom we cannot do without, Cindy Dancy, and a former Greensboro Chamber staffer, David Ramsey. From the Nexon Pruitt law firm assisting the company were Jim Price, Ernie Pearson, Margaret Burnham, and George Smith. And then the seller of the land, Gary Anderson of AMD Holdings, who graciously extended the due diligence period, and his excellent broker, Elliot Sheridan of NAI. The broker for the company, Richard Beard of Schulman and Beard. The design team, Brian O'Malley with Croft A&E. And my mentor and friend, Lauren Hill, who retired as of January 1, 2021 from the EDC, who also assisted by making presentations for the DC Blocks project at the High Point City Council and the Guilford County Commissioners' public hearings last fall. So thank you again to all of these teammates that helped to make this project happen. We appreciate each of you so much. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Carlos Olvera, our EDC chair. Carlos, are you there and unmuted?
There we go. Sorry about that. Thank you to DC Blocks. Thank you to the state of North Carolina and the Department of Commerce. Thank you to our elected officials for their support. Thank you to our economic development team for your hard work, and thank you for all attending today's exciting announcement. The official part of our meeting is now adjourned. So now I'm going to turn it over to Ryan Ferguson, who will now lead the Q&A session for the media. Take it away, Ryan.
Our first question is from Noel Miller for DC Blocks. What was the main attraction you had to your main reasoning for coming to our awesome city?
Well, I'll take that. Happy to answer that. As I mentioned briefly, we dig in very, very deep into the data. If you look at the broader Triad region, there's 1.7 million people in the market. If you look at the infrastructure that is there, the highway systems, the airport, the logistical support, the only thing that this market was missing was a tier 3 certified multi-tenant data center. Frankly, we were shocked that one was not in the region. There was plenty in Raleigh. There's enough in Charlotte, but why not the entire High Point, Greensboro, Winston-Salem region? And so when we continue to keep looking and looking and looking, and we've run this engagement of analyzing the data and looking at the GDP data and looking at the employment data and looking at all the things around the market. We knew we could make an impact there. It's not just about us picking a city that we can go in and know we'd be successful at, but can we make an impact in the community? Are the right things set up there? And so after looking at this data, as I mentioned, starting in June of 17 and then working forward until, just continually, I mean, even through 2020, the entire Triad area really jumped off the page when it was always within our top 5. So it was a natural extension for us to come up into High Point and make High Point our home in North Carolina. We're really excited about it. We think it's a great gateway to Raleigh and Durham. It's a great gateway to Charlotte, and it's a great way to, gateway to Ashburn, North Virginia, where much of the, large hyperscale data centers are. So it was an easy choice for us. It took a little longer than what we had anticipated, but we're excited about having High Point as our 6th location on the map. So hopefully that answered your question.
Next question is, how long before you guys will be up and ready and open for business?
Well, I'll answer that one, and then I'll pass the next couple probably over to Kurt. So we're in the planning stages now. When you build these, we've gone through all the geotechnical design, which tests the soil and all the things. We've gone through the initial security design. We're still in some of the final design stages of doing this, so that's a fluid process. And at the same time, we're meeting with lots of prospective customers and enterprises. When you lay out a facility like this, we're planning on housing somewhere between call it 1,400 to 1,600 total amount of computer cabinets just on this one facility alone. So ensuring that we get the planning right done the first time, that's what we're working through. It's our anticipation that we start this, sometime this fall. That could slip a little bit. It could accelerate a little bit, but we're actively working on it. As Sandy knows, we've been hosting different dinners with different people and different things in and out of the city. And we're going to continue to do that. And stay tuned. The announcement will be coming of when we start breaking ground. I can promise you that.
Our next question is this the future of data in our country, transforming local communities instead of offshore?
Yes. I love this play. I have always felt over my career that a major market didn't just get the privilege of having such a fantastic network and data center facility. I always wanted data centers to go into locations like High Point. So the answer is yes. The concept of the edge and data moving out of the NFL cities and being created and consumed farther and farther away from the major metropolitan areas is happening to us all the time. And it happens through our phones, through what we stream on TV, how we consume media and news. So in my opinion, this is the future to bring these kind of capabilities farther and farther away from just the big cities. And we're excited about coming to High Point. This is one of the most favorite things that I like to do when we open up new markets. And so thank you.
The next question, describe the ideal client for your facility.
The ideal client, I could start with a joke, somebody with money. We need that. But the ideal client for us is somebody who is amenable and available to outsourcing some of their services. They are willing to put trust in a company like DC Blocks to protect their data, to protect their computer, to protect their network assets. The ideal customer is somebody who has multiple needs. I need a place to securely store power and cool my equipment, but I also need to connect to Charlotte. I also need to connect to the cloud. An ideal customer is somebody who has a need for infrastructure related to storage or compute. The ideal customer is going to take all of my products. But the reality is that's not always the case. So the ideal customer for us is somebody that we can serve.
I would just add one thing to what Kurt said is we have customers of all different types. And where, as I mentioned, we become the grand central station in many of these. We're empowering cities. We're empowering counties. We're empowering states in the state infrastructure to ensure that it is in a safe, secure place in either a primary or secondary location. We work with large enterprises that could be banks or financial institutions of some type. We really go deep in healthcare and work with many hospital systems and university systems around research computing and creating environments where the research computing can really help solve, think of it as more personalized medicine or other things. So whether it's across content companies like cable companies, whether it's life sciences or healthcare, whether it's large financial institutions, whether it's the business that is down the street that has got that computer room that is sitting there that needs to have a place to make it safe and secure. We serve all businesses because everybody has got a need. Some are greater than others, but it's our aim to ensure that that communications equipment, that network equipment, those servers and that data is stored in such a way that they know that it'll always be on. You can trust us and it'll always be secure.
Our next question is, how has this pandemic impacted your business model?
Oh, I like that question. So the pandemic, in many respects, has kind of confirmed the necessity of having infrastructure in a situation where you don't have to worry about it being available. So it really accelerated our business in some respects because customers were worried, how do I keep my network going if some of my people get sick? How do I keep my infrastructure safe, secure, and protected if somebody in my computer room or my data center gets sick? How do I do this? How do I maintain it? So we've seen an uptick in services to customers who realize disaster recovery and business continuity has come and hit us right square in the middle of the forehead from the pandemic. We also see some issues with respect to some customers who have unfortunately struggled a little bit because the pandemic has affected their business. We're thoughtful and careful and courteous about how their business has been affected. But I'd say in general, we're seeing an acceleration, and I don't expect it to stop. We're not going to forget what we went through last year. We're all going to remember that it's really, really important to have a continuity plan and have a plan for having your assets in a place that you can always count on.
All right, and the last question we have here, how will the city of High Point and Guilford County see long-term benefits from this project?
Yeah,
So I'll answer that one, and Kurt, please provide any additional color if needed. In many ways, how a city and county and region benefit from having somebody like DC Blocks, certainly by having us, is I think it goes back to some of the things Jay said initially. We get involved in the communities, so we really make it part of our DNA and our culture to be good corporate citizens. And do so in a way that we're finding ways to help cross that digital divide that was mentioned. And how do we help education? How do we help the businesses succeed? From a physical perspective, this is something that I know that will be an economic development engine that by bringing more companies into High Point, into Greensboro, into the whole Triad region, they need to know that there is a world-class facility that is there to house their data in their needs. Because as Kurt mentioned, it's no longer just living in the NFL cities. This is a really big point that will help the economic development engine for High Point in attracting other companies. Finally, from a tax base, the tax base related to the computing equipment and the capital investments for what we make are an enormous amount of money. And through that tax base, it generates money back for school systems that technically doesn't put a burden on the school systems because we don't hire hundreds and thousands of jobs. However, we did an analysis in looking at it, and if you really break it down, every cabinet of computers that we house in our facility is basically like a $40 or $50 or $60,000 a year job, depending upon how you look at it. And if we put hundreds of those into this facility. Remember, I said we're going to store somewhere between 1,500, 1,200 to 1,600 at total. That's like 12 to 1,600 jobs of tax base without putting the burden on the marketplace. So overall, we have an economic impact to the tax base, which I think is great. I think we can be great partners for High Point in the entire Triad region to help recruit other companies in. And I think that we're going to be making a big difference in the community of being just a good corporate citizen.
Yeah, I like what Jeff said there. We want other enterprises, other companies to come to High Point. And when they do, they're going to say, hey, what data center can I use here? Where can I house my equipment? Because the trend is not to build and own your own. So they're going to say, where is that? And we're going to help check that box.
Thank you both so much for so ably handling those questions. And Ryan, thank you. And thank you to the media. I'd like to thank all of the High Point Economic Development Corporation board members that are here with us, as well as our Guilford County Economic Development allies, and our High Point City Council and our Guilford County Commission members. We are so pleased to have you here with us today to help us welcome the fabulous company that is DC Blocks. Great kudos, Jeff and Kurt, to you and all of your team. They've been fabulous to work with. I will share that our Greensboro High Point tagline is "You can make it here." And we know that you guys are going to make it here with great success. So thank you again so much for your confidence in our area and our city of High Point. So thank you all. If there is nothing else, I'll turn it back over. I think, Carlos, you might have already adjourned. So, but if there's anything else you would like to say, I think we're almost to wrap up.
No, I think it's great. And again, thank you for everybody that attended today's virtual meeting.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll look forward to seeing you next month. We do have a June meeting, and I'm sure we'll have lots to share then also. So until then, and we hope to see you in the interim. Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.